sonobello.com.
Okay, I want you to think for just a minute about your favorite restaurant in town and perhaps that steak that only they seem to be able to cut, whatever the meat is that you might go and enjoy there, and you wonder how in the world did they do it? There's a good chance they do it by coming where we are today at Tokushu Knives over off of Ashland Terrace. This is Zach Peters, and the name of Tokushu means?
Perfect knife.
Perfect knife. So I'm kind of beginning with the upscale nature of what you do here. People like me can walk in and purchase knives from you, but you are well known in the restaurant community around here.
Yeah, pretty much any restaurant you can name comes here to get their knives taken care of, purchase knives, sharpen their knives, so on and so forth.
You began by sharpening knives. You're an electrician by trade.
Yep.
This was kind of a hobby. A lot of men especially have this hobby of collecting knives, but there is an art and sharpening it, and people discovered your art pretty quickly.
Yeah, very much so. Definitely an art. Like I probably couldn't forge one of these knives, but I can sharpen anything that walks in the door, versus some guys that could forge a knife but don't sharpen so well.
So here's what happened. This began as his hobby. Now you are known all over the world, really. People trade with you via e-commerce because you can come in and get a basic knife. You'll walk me through some of those this morning, as cheap as $69.
Yep.
You have things like this one in front of you that's thousands of dollars and very rare.
Yes.
Let's start with that one. What is it?
It's a Kenji Tagashi 270 millimeter Sakimaru Hanyaki.
What does that mean? And I don't mean literally, but like, how do you use this knife?
This would be mostly used for slicing of proteins. So if we had a finished roast or we were going to slice some sushi, things of that nature.
It's beautiful. I was telling the crew this morning, I never would have thought that I would be a person who would come into a store like this, no offense, Zach,
No.
and be wowed by the inventory. It's beautiful. They're all functional,
Yes.
and they're intended to be legacy pieces, but they're beautiful.
Yeah, even though this piece is rare and expensive, whoever happens to buy it, I hope they actually use it and don't just put it on a shelf.
Okay, go ahead.
These pieces need to be used.
For the everyday person like me, grilling season is about to start.
Yes.
Are there one or two knives that we all ought to have in our arsenal?
If you're serious into grilling, you should have a Tsujihiki. Maybe this one's a touch long, but something 240 to 270. It's your perfect slicing knife if you're doing briskets, steaks, pork roast, anything like that. Perfect for slicing anything. And then your everyday knife would be your chef's knife, or gyuto. Would be the translation for it. Something in the 210 millimeter range to 240 millimeter range is your average.
There are
knife.
some people watching this morning, and they may have some of these legacy knives, some things that have been passed down for generations, and they probably know the importance of getting them sharpened well.
Yes.
One thing unique to you, you are the one doing the sharpening. Nothing is sent away, correct?
Exactly. Everything gets sharpened, repaired in-house. Nothing gets sent out. Nobody else touches it but me or my other sharpener, Boris.
Do you ever appraise things? If somebody has a knife, can they bring it to you and you can say, hey, this is something to hold on to at least?
We do. I wouldn't say we'll give a full appraisal, but we can give you a good roundabout idea of it.
Okay, so here's where the beauty comes in. I'm sure you were able to kind of see the blade and how gorgeous that is. Are these forged, am I saying it right,
Yeah.
where different materials and metals are kind of forged into it? But then you've got the handles, and these come from all over the world. Like this one that I've fallen in love with is from France, right?
Yep. The maker's name is Andrea Miranda. He's out of Paris, France. We have makers from the United States and all over the world.
This one is from where?
Vietnam.
And it's buffalo?
it's solid water buffalo horn.
Wow.
Yes.
What's this one? Do you know?
That is curly mango with a false ivory top. It's the same ivory that they would use on keyboards for pianos.
So you look at these and you can see the durability in these knives, Zach, and yet things do go through wear and tear.
Of course.
Often we're the ones creating the problems and we don't know it. He runs out of these in the store because they're so popular, but this simple looking cutting board is part of your secret to success. It's rubber.
Yes.
Why do we want rubber and not wood?
Most woods, especially teak and bamboo, are very hard materials. They're also very cheap materials, but rubber, when we cut into something, like this rubber board, I can cut into it and twist my blade and it's not going to chip it or dull it in any way. But if I were to do that to a teak or a bamboo board, it's going to dull my blade and also possibly chip my blade. Japanese blades are much harder than your common German blades, So a German blade's going to dent versus chip.
So, a lot of us have those knife blocks in our kitchens. Are those bad? Because they're wooden.
Not so much because they're wooden. The reason I don't like knife blocks is because I've cut some in half and they're disgusting inside, to be honest.
Oh.
Think of all the dust that gets down in there, and I won't go further than that.
Right. So you like to just have a case for each individual knife?
Actually, I do magnetics at my house. So I have magnetic racks like this at my house, and then I'm not sure if those are in focus, but those racks up there are on my countertops
That's
as well.
very pretty. Okay, how often should you, if you're like the general person, not the chefs around town, but the weekend griller,
Yeah.
how often should you get your knives sharpened?
Really depends on your cutting board and how often you cook, but I always tell somebody you should at least have your knives sharpened once a year at least.
Okay, once a year. It's graduation season
Yes.
coming up soon.
Yes.
Also good gifts for that.
Yeah, especially if you have a culinary student.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Okay, so you're telling me that I can't spend $3,000 for this one, darn.
Yep.
But this is a good one. Is that what do you call that knife?
This is called a petty, or here in the States we would call it a paring knife.
A paring knife. Okay, so that's for vegetables and
Yep.
things.
Any in-hand work that you need to do, yes.
Okay, these are your protein knives.
Yep.
Correct.
This is kind of more of an all-around, if you're going to make lunch or dinner and you're not comfortable with a larger blade, it's called a santoku.
And should you hold the handles and the knives before purchase to make sure it fits in your hand?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one thing I don't like about commerce. I know we're built on commerce, but I don't like that I can't touch and feel. And if you come in the shop, we always have produce you can use it on.
Well, people are going to want to come in the shop because this is a one of a kind of a stop. I mean, I didn't even know you were here, and I'm awfully glad to discover you, so thanks.
Thank you.
I say to you, Tokushu.
Yeah.
On the interview.
Perfect.
Perfect. Here's where
you.
you'll find him. Thank you, Zach, so much.
Thank you.
Did you know that clogged dryer vents caused more than 15,000 house fires last year? Dryer Vent Wizard of Chattanooga will inspect, clean, and repair your vent so your dryer runs efficiently and